Okay, so I'm into rebuilding old tube radio batteries and installing them in old tube radios that I've restored or rebuilt or resurrected, depending on what the case may be. Most of them are not full restorations, but just resurrections. But here we have some batteries that I purchased, and I'm going to unbox them and I'll show you what they look like. So here they are, and I can actually rebuild these and use them in a radio that's not 45 volts or 22 volts, but I can rebuild them to the specification which I need and possibly use them in a radio that I currently have. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I will probably just display them. This one came in rough shape. The label damaged slightly, so I'm gluing that piece of label back on. This one says 4F, and that 4F is because there are four what they call F cells that build this battery. It's basically a lantern battery with a plug-in style top. So if you had a radio that required this, it would be very, very easy to build a modern day equivalent to work with it. And speaking of modern day equivalents, this has four F cells in it. And the reason why I bought that is I am going to endeavor to create four G cells out of the F cells that are in this for use in my radios. What I have been doing, these are labels that are to size, actually to scale, for a G cell or an Eveready 964, which I'll show you. That is the actual battery right there. And I've been making these adapters where a regular D battery, this is live, this is usable. There's a regular D battery up there in this cardboard tube with one of these labels glued to it. And it's stuffed with tin foil to make up the difference. I can actually put that in the radio and use it. But what I want to see is if these, when I open this up, disassemble it, can substitute for these. They're close in size. You can see this is a little taller. But we're going to see. I mean, it's not much taller. So let's see what happens. We're going to use a Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel to open this battery, so stand by. Well, after cutting the top off, I've exposed the four F cells. This little springy thing looks like it disconnects to the ground portion. And yeah, these things are all in parallel, the series, I'm sorry, to make 6 volts. Well, it was a great thought, but it won't quite work. Yes, I can make spacers so that we can use these. Absolutely can. Can make spacers so that we can use them. But they are quite a bit lower than the original, which makes it really not a viable route to go. This was kind of like a waste of a battery. I mean, I will try to utilize these springs and stuff. I'll save them. But yeah, this is basically not really going to work out. Yes, could I make it work? Yes, I could put this in the tube. I can get it to line up, and I can add a spacer, so I could make it work. But it's just not worth the effort. If I'm going to go through all that, I've already got this creation here, which requires a standard D, which I could buy anywhere. And that just one that's in here could be popped out and reinstalled with just a little pressure. So, yeah, it really doesn't. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to do that. But there we have it anyway. So, if anything, we now know that this does not make a great replacement. If I were going to make an adapter to utilize something like this, I might as well do it with an alkaline version of this, so at least I'd have the additional capacity. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with what I have here, how I'm going to use it, what I'm going to use it for. If anything, it may just sit there in the project box. But it's interesting anyway. You get to see what's inside one of these. And no, it's not going to work and do what I thought I would be able to do. I was hoping that these things would be a bit longer. Oh, look at that. It would have to be quite a bit longer. Isn't it interesting how the carbon rod comes directly right out of here? It doesn't have any top with any kind of a metal thing on it. But yeah, so here we go. This is a what we call an F cell, and the dimensions of this F cell are quite a bit smaller than what we would require for what we're doing. So I am going to call this one. This is not a win, but it's certainly not a loss either. Hey, we now know. So these adapters are what we're going to have to use.